Hey guys, this is Box. Welcome to MST.TV, and today's video we are going to be doing a classic set analysis of all the secret rare and a couple of underrated picks from Dawn of Majesty. And I have to say, the initial impression of Dawn of Majesty this time around is the set feels like a DLC without the core game. There's like the introduction of Despias, which is really cool, but Suship's not exactly in the most playable state. All the other cards kind of in a bit of a mess, and then even in the secret rare lineup, it's kind of showing that it's really just waiting for other things to kind of kick into overdrive. And looking at Burst of Destiny, that's a set that I'm picking a case of. This one, there's going to be a couple of key cards that you probably have to pick up, but aside from that, I think we can probably focus our attention onto future sets, as it were. But anyways, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button, hit subscribe, ding notification bell, and we can begin. Oh, one quick note to all my Patreons out there. Yes, I am working on proxies again. You guys have requested Flunder Freeze. Yeah, that's happening. I'm going to be doing all the Lyraless birds because I find them to be a very intriguing archetype, and we are doing the Soul Swords Shangjian archetype, alright? So those are the proxies coming in very soon, working on them as we speak. Probably when you're watching this video, I'm already working on them, so we'll stay tuned for that, and let's begin. And this is gonna start off with all the secrets revealed. Yes, I am including Stardust Dragon in the secret review because a Starlight Rare is like a super blinged up secret rare, and that's just my take on it. But anyways, fun fact about Stardust, in terms of the printing of this card has been basically printed in every single rarity that is part of the main set, and even Gold Series. Like 1 common printing, 2 rare printings, 3 super printings, 3 ultra printing if you include the alternate art, and then ultimate rare, there's 1 printing, 1 printing for ghost rare, even collector rare, and now we even get starlight rare. That is a lot of rarities for this card. And even gold rare, there's 2 printings of gold rare, which is like, it blows my mind of how many times you need to print this card, but it is very iconic, and that's why it's such a collectible card at the high rarity. In terms of price point, since it's so collectible and probably the most sought after card, and one of the reasons why you would go into Dawn of Majesty, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be 500 at the very least, maybe. This is probably one of those cards that are high up there and probably the money card of the set, so congratulations if you do pull this. And it's probably gonna settle maybe 600-700 around there. I'm just gonna guess it's gonna settle right there, and it's like collectible, it's iconic overall, it's a good card. And okay, let's move on to some actual secret rares, starting with the Shooting Majestic Star Dragon. The cover card on drop, my guess on the price point is about $30, mainly because it's collectible, and even then I still think it's a bit high. I wouldn't pay for this card personally, and it'll probably settle around like 10-15 bucks unless the collector market for this card is up there. I mean, if this card came in Starlight Rare, I can see it also being very collectible, you know, next to that Stardust Dragon, and it does seem to make sense. But in terms of like the archetype itself of just Majestic Star Dragon, now don't get me wrong, this one is much easier to summon. You don't even have to summon a Shooting Star Dragon. Some of you guys are like, oh man, I have to make a Shooting Star Dragon and then go for the Majestic Dragon. No, you don't have to do that. This one's much easier. You still need the Majestic Dragon, and most of the set's support kind of leans you towards making it, but you still have to have a Synchro Dragon monster next to it to synchro. In other words, the strategy narrows you into a very specific path where, in terms of the competitive day and age right now, it's pretty easy to kind of find that funnel point and choke point and counter it. That's why it's not exactly the most sought after card, but summoning this boss monster is very powerful. Awesome effect. You can negate something on the field that doesn't target, and you can also negate, like I believe, any card activation, or is it a monster card activation, and you get to banish it. So yeah, and it comes back. So this card's pretty awesome. Secret rare number 2, this is going to be the money secret rare of the set, and based off of what I'm saying on this point, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of money secrets in this particular set. In terms of drop price, I'm guessing about 50 bucks because she's hyped up, she's got the waifu tax, and she probably is one of the more useful cards in the entire set. In terms of settle price, it's gonna go down probably about $30, because even in OCG, if you want to compare how many people actually use this card, there's a limited amount. You have to be playing something that negates the effect of monsters on the field, such as Effect Veil or Imperm, so it's added value to the hand trap. Unlike Nibiru works as a standalone, but usually works best paired with another hand trap. Iris, on the other hand, is not the case, because you have to have some sort of negation based effect. Otherwise, you will not be able to even use her at all. In other words, she could be a dead brick in your hand as well. But aside from being a hand trap on your opponent's turn, you can definitely use her on your own turn as well, because on the main phase, all you need is to negate something on the field. You can droplet your opponent and then drop this card, which gives you the ability to maybe crack a board. But again, it's conditional. You get to draw 2 cards, destroy a monster, or special summon from your hand if your opponent summons something from either their hand, deck, or graveyard. So that's like the limitation of this card. So that's where I'm going to be settling this card. And this would be the money card too. Secret rare number 3, we have Triff. No, I'm just kidding. This is the Anti-Human Intelligence Messiah. I love the name of this card. Drop price, I'm guessing around 35 bucks. It's really, really good. I don't know how this card is going to settle, because I feel like this card is Anti-Sky Striker. It is the floodgate and the antithesis of Dimensional Fissure, because this one banishes everything that isn't a monster. Imagine putting both cards up and now you have yourself a Macrocosmos. And since this card is something that you can play at 3, Sky Striker's best friend, I would have to say, because they would love to activate Engage and get it banished. They would love to activate Hayate and banish their card, because that's what Sky Strikers do. They have banishing their own spells and traps, because that's how their strategies work. I'm just kidding. They'll probably hate this card. You put this card up, they're going to be looking a way to load their grave and try to make afterburners, or they're forced to go into a Phoenix and getting rid of even more cards. Just playing this card is super annoying. Also, this card is relatively easy to summon as long as you play Pendulums, and it's still got a pretty decent body on the field as well, and it forces stuff to be sent to the graveyard during the end phase if they do get special summoned out. So this card is very interesting nonetheless, and it also has a scale of 0. Let's not neglect that it is a Pendulum monster, and the scale numbers do matter, and being a 0 gives you a wide range of stuff that you can special. Secret number 4, we have Ready Fusion, the vanilla flavored instant fusion. This card to me is amazing. It gives you the summon range of basically any monster ranging from level 2 to level 6. This one summons level 6 and below, unlike Instant Fusion, which is 5 and below, but Instant Fusion, you get to summon stuff with effects. Now, the key difference here is, why is this card important? Well, first of all, you can play 3 copies of this, and rather than running bricks in your main deck, you can just run the body that you need to extend in the extra deck, so it won't clot you, and you can use it as a proper extender. You have 2 tuners available so far, because you have the tuner of Alvain, which is also in this set as a common, and you have Theseus in, well, previous sets as a level 5 tuner, so you have a really, really good range. And from there, I would say, since it is staple S, it's probably going to settle much better. So on drop, 20 to 25 doesn't seem like unreasonable, and settling between 15 to 25 is also kind of reasonable as well. And I guess on top, I could be completely wrong. It could be even at a much higher price point because of its versatility. It really depends on the format. If the format, like the top tier decks, play this a lot, you're gonna see this card skyrocket. So just be very careful. I would recommend everyone to actually pick up a set of Ready Fusion. All right, card number 5, we have Stardust Synchron. Don't let the name fool you. It is a generic synchro support. In terms of its drop price, I might be putting it a bit high. This might be like pre-release. They're putting it at $19.99, but in terms of settle price, $10 is not too bad. Might even go down to $5. It has high potential, in my opinion, because it works for Floodgate decks to search for protection. You can add Starlight Road because it searches on normal or special a card that names Stardust in the card text, which includes Starlight Road. I think that card will give you that protection against Duster, and if you got all those floodgates up and Duster is the only way out, and like even if they have Twin Twisters, this card can also negate that as well. So well, the Starlight Road can negate it as well, so that's actually really, really useful. And then if you want to play with a little bit of a synchro play, remember that you can special summon out this card from your graveyard by attributing a monster if you control. You can summon out from the graveyard or from your hand, so it's ultimately very useful. It doesn't burn your normal summon either if it doesn't need to, but you can normal summon to still get the same effect. So overall, this card has a lot of potential. I think something that I want to keep my eye on because it's also a machine tuner. Now, halfway through, make sure you guys check out MST.TV if you guys want to pick up some awesome sleeves, card dividers to sort your collection, or even an awesome playmat that's available right now. Go check out MST.TV, something that I've designed myself, really proud of it, and it really supports this channel. Now we're going to go into some of the more wacky cards that are kind of more archetype specific. Secret number 6, we have B Trooper Scout Buggy. B Trooper is the TCG exclusive archetype. This is card number 000, as also taking a secret rare spot, but it is also the promo ultra rare. So in terms of hype price when it comes out, $10. Wow, that's like nowhere close to tour guide, but we also have a settle price of $5. Now, since this is like the tour guide for insects, it summons another copy of itself from the hand or graveyard or deck. It's pretty versatile. However, the one thing that is really locking about this card and not making it like one of the best possible cards ever is because while this card is of course on the field, you are locked into only summoning out insect type monsters. That limitation is pretty big. However, I kind of want to address this. It can be outed. Like this particular condition, there are ways to break through it, and I'll tell you guys in a bit in the later cards. Next, we have a money card of the set. It's ALUBER, the Jester of Despia. On drop, $35. Look, the money has to come from somewhere. A lot of our previous sets were super top heavy. We had multiple $100 cards or $50 cards, and this set, it gets a little bit more distributed. So ALUBER, the Jester of Despia, this is the key card. It's a staple in Despia, and the only way for you to actually play the deck is to actually have all three of these to play consistently. It's the searcher for the branded spells and traps, or yeah, there's also that printing error where it says you can search for like a Despia spell. Let's hope Konami fixes this and addresses this, and as long as they address it, we will be okay, right? Or else, do we play with a card text or do we not? I don't really know what to say about this one. Secret rare number 8, we have Synchro Overtake. This one is catered towards people that love playing Junk Speeder, because if you activate this card, you're locked into Synchro Summoning as your only method of summoning from the extra deck. And on top of that, it is a Fusion Conscription, but for Synchro monsters. You get to reveal one of your extra deck monsters, one of your Synchros, and then you look at the material that is being named there, and you get to add that to your hand. So you can start up your Junk Speeder strategy, and luckily Junk Speeder already locks you into that stuff as well. So this is the only card that really synergizes at the moment. But there is potential for it to get even better. If there is a synchro-based strategy that also lists a boss monster with a specific material, and that material is a combo starter, you're going to see this card probably rise up in price. But that is speculation, and that's only for the future. Secret rare number 9, we have Sacred Scroll of the Gizmek Legend. This is the Gizmek key card. If you want to play pure Gizmeks, then this is the one card to do so. On drop, maybe about $10. Settle, maybe around $10. I mean, it is a key card in that deck, and value in this set needs to go somewhere. Otherwise, it's gonna go into all the Starlight rares, and I really don't see that happening. But I could be completely wrong, because I am not a market kind of guy. That's Nishi's job. But in terms of what this card does, it's basically a pot of duality for attack equals defense monsters, and all the Gizmeks are within that line. And it is also a floodgate. If you manage to summon 10 times and put 10 of these counters on there, any monster on the field cannot activate their effect unless their attack equals their defense. That limitation is pretty risky, since I think with Link monsters, since Link monsters don't even have a defense, they'll never actually be able to meet this condition, so they will never be able to activate any other cards. Correct me if I'm wrong. I need to check up on the ruling of this particular card, because it's probably something that will come up. And finally, the worst secret in the entire set arrived in light. If you're not looking to play Majestic Dragon, you probably don't want this card. On drop, maybe about $5, and probably settling around $2. Because it sets up Majestic Dragon, and that's really its key focus. This card does not give you a plus, and it's super archetype specific, and you can put a card to the top of the deck, but then that also requires you to follow up with a Synchro Summon. If you don't Synchro Summon, you will not kick off your strategy. That's why opening with this card doesn't feel that great to begin with, and you need something. You need to play this with other cards. In other words, it's a brick. And I won't compare this with like Black Whirlwind, because Black Whirlwind is like, oh, if you have Black Whirlwind alone, it's a brick too. Yeah, it kind of is, but when you activate this card, it forces you to draw into a Wish Converging Dragon or a Majestic Dragon. Like, it puts a level 1 dragon onto the top of the deck, and it's mandatory too, so that's like one of the key limitations. And if you don't have any in your deck, you're forced to add one from your hand. Like, I don't know what to say about this card, man. It could be a ruling nightmare as well. When I think about it, like, what if I say, oh, I just don't have any, and then you summon it from your hand? Like, Now it's time for my underrated picks, and starting with my picks, I have a set of cards, Insect Link Monsters. Honestly, I feel like they're setting this one up for Insectors. I'm not gonna lie, because even though a lot of the Beat Trooper cards lock you into only summon out insects, this set also gave us the out to that, which is the Shinobi insect Hakakure Mino. Yeah, this insect doesn't lock you into insects at all, and it gives you the ability to summon cards from your hand or graveyard as long as something it points to gets destroyed. And what destroys cards better than Dragonfly Hornet? So there's that option right there. And since you can summon from hand or graveyard, you can revive a Dragonfly for one thing, or the other thing you can do is summon stuff that you added with Centipede. That's a lot of speed that Centipede previously did not have. And it's not just that card, there's also Beat Trooper Armored Horn that gives you the additional summon of a normal summon of an insect monster in your hand, and that's also again setting up Centipede for more and more play. That's something that I want to keep in mind because I feel like that's just waiting for the Grand Creator set to give us that Insector spell. Next we have Link Apple. I think this is just Upstart Goblin. I mean, it's a once per turn Upstart Goblin, but it does also cost you one of the cards in your extra deck. If you have an extra tight extra deck, don't play this card. But if you have an extra deck space available for you to banish random stuff, give it a try. I think I might try this in pure Lyrilusk. In my opinion, yes, I probably won't be able to get the summon effect. I mean, if I did, that'd be fine too. But I can totally just normal summon of this card and use the level 1 to go into Recital Starling regardless. But that's just my opinion. I think this is just a generic Upstart. Why not give it a try if you need a deck filler? Then there's Live Twins Sunny Snitch. This is Tenki for Live Twins. Pick up 3 if you're going to be picking up that deck. I think Live Twins are actually really powerful. A really solid, at least maybe tier 2 or rogue contender. And it's different here compared to OCG. OCG, they have Max C, which makes Live Twin a bit harder to play considering that you have a huge flow of cards that your opponent will be able to draw off of. In TCG, not so much, and that's the key difference here, where we actually get to abuse this card a little bit more. So it gives you a bit of life burn and life gain effect, and it sets it up for, you know, Burst of Destiny with that new Link 4 coming out, which is really powerful. Next card, Pendulum Treasure. Don't underestimate the ability of a Foolish Burial. I mean, Foolish Burial is limited for a good reason, but this is like Foolish Burial for Pendulum Monster, but rather than throwing into the graveyard, you get to put it into the top of your extra deck, ultimately giving you all sorts of fetch. If you can perform a Pendulum Summon, this card could mean the complete world of difference for you. So in that regard, we have ourselves the Protecting Spirit of Loagoth. I don't really know where I stand for this particular card. It seems very useful. I mean, if you activate an on-fairy effect, you get to summon out this card from your hand, and then as a face-up card, you can banish a face-up card on the field by putting one of your monsters into defense position. Last 3 underrated cards, you know, hidden gems in the mix. We have Alvain, the Essence of Vanity. This one's a given. It's the Instant Fusion and Ready Fusion Tuner, level 2 Fairy Dark. Kind of covers like a lot of ground in terms of like a very useful typing for a monster. Next card, Slower Swallow. It's like a slow Pot of Greed. It's pretty easy to summon because you can just special summon this onto the field, and to do that, there just needs to be monsters with the same level on the field. It could be yours, it could be your opponent's, it could be mixed, so that's easy. It's level 1. I considered playing this in my Lyrilusk build, pure Lyrilusk. I don't need Tri Brigades in my Lyrilusk builds. It's just, this thing is more fun. It's like a slow Wing Recrital in like a monster form because it still needs like a bunch of monsters on the field to kind of get the free summon. You can normal summon out this and just get the draw as well. It's not too bad. It almost feels like card D to some degree. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. Maybe it will be useful, maybe not. But next we have Margin Trading. I read this card and I see discard 1 card. I don't see your opponent giving you that deck knowledge. I mean, if you do get the deck knowledge, you give your opponent a +1, or you give your opponents like a 1-for-1. Either or, giving up deck knowledge is not really good, especially on the opening turn, because you can use that to analyze what they have in their hand, and that alone lets you play around too many things. If you're going to be playing this card, don't play Driver because they're going to put that in your hand every single time. And this card resolving, I don't know, it might be a bust. And it actually makes it kind of interesting because if any deck is running like Driver-esque cards where you really don't want to see in your hand, say if you're playing ABC, they decide to put your Union Driver into your hand, that's gonna suck, and therefore you have to double up on maybe some cards just so that this card is a little bit more manageable. But aside from that, I don't know if this card is gonna see mainstream play. I would love to see it in mainstream play, or at least in troll level also plays. But that's just my opinion. This card is very interesting, and if you have no better card to play, why don't try this out? Because I think the better the player, the better this card will be. That's my opinion. That's all I got for this video, guys. Make sure you guys check out MSTmerch.com for sleeves, dividers, and mats. I made them myself. Appreciate it, you guys. And make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button, hit like, hit subscribe, ding notification bell if you guys learned a thing or two. And in the comments section as well, I would like to learn what you guys find interesting about this set. What are you guys looking forward to? Personally, I'm looking forward to sushi. I love sushi. I'm probably gonna go on a tangent right now, but you know, fun fact, sushi is not a weight loss food if you're not just eating sashimi. Rolls and rice, sushi rice is really sugary, and it's a really high source of carbs, and I learned that the hard way, and I gained a ton of weight when I ate sushi for like a month straight. Yeah, fun fact. But that's just me. Anyways, leave it down in the comment section below, and I guess I will see you guys in the next one.